This is the second part of our discussion with members of the Greek anti-capitalist left party, Antarsya, who support leaving the euro as the best way to deal with Greece's economic problems. Joining Thanos Andritsos in part 2 is Kostas Fourikos, who started out by discussing Antarsya's relationship with Syriza, the party of ruling Prime Minister Alexis Tsipras.
Yes, we think, and that was our difference with Syriza even before the referendum, before the elections all the past years, that exiting the eurozone is a key element, not the only one of course, but a key element of an alternative program to fight the crisis, to fight the recession, and to fight the poverty in Greece. Why is that? Because there are a lot of critical elements in the structure of European Union and in the structure of Eurozone that do not allow Greece to have policy, economical policy that will help the poor people and the labor class. That was proven. Unfortunately, these days, it was proven that it's not only the balance, the specific balance of power that exists now in the Eurozone and now in the European Union, but it's structural thing that the Eurozone only tries to support only the interests of big corporations of Europe, Germany, banks, and not the interests of people. So our alternative was and remains exiting the Eurozone, not Grexit, because, you know, as a term, Grexit is very terrifying term that was used by Schäuble, Merkel, and the powerful leadership of the European Union. So we say exiting the Eurozone could be a part of the alternative program, also with cancelling the debt, stop paying the debt, nationalize the banks, nationalize certain big sectors of the economy, raise the taxes for the healthy, wealthy people in Greece that were having much profits in the past time, and even having measures as in Argentina, for example, corporations that are shutting down, and the people that the employers there, they could take the
capital, the capital flight.
Yes, they could take the corporation and they could use it.
The workers would take it over.
Yes, they could take it over.
Yes. Okay.
Can I add something? There is a big discussion. I mean, okay, maybe we are not specialists on the exact figures and things like that, but there is this big discussion whether this program of exiting Eurozone, exiting European Union, whatever, is something that it's, I don't know, impossible or even crazy, etc. What we are thinking is that it's not that it is easy, but we have to, to examine what we mean by difficult. In my perspective, it is difficult politically because you have to mobilize the people, because you have to fight with European and Greek oligarchy, because you have to find ways in solving problems that may occur, but it's not difficult technically. And this is something different. It's not that we try to find water in the desert. It's that we want to reorganize our economy in the favor of people, in trying to somehow create some kind of a social security for all the people that they are suffering right now. So there is a different discussion about how we will organize people, how we will somehow find ways in order to change the level of exploitation that right now in Greece it's extremely high. How we can find ways in order to reproduce, to produce again things that we have stopped producing due to European agreement, that we have somehow again find ways to cultivate things that we have stopped in the last years. But it's not difficult in a way that there will people they will dry in the streets, without having anything to eat. The problem would be how the people and the labor movement and the people in the neighborhoods can organize in order to implement this kind of measures.
And there's been meetings in Athens. There's been meetings over the past few days about how to achieve that, how to self-organize within the government and and outside of the government as well.
Yes. Now I think that it is a crucial moment that more and more people are trying to understand and try to do what they can, to try to think what we can do about the thing that there was no plan B with this procedure of the last months.
Which exposed Cyprus's weakness in the negotiations, right?
Yes. I mean that we think that exiting eurozone and cancelling the debt and all these measures that I described before, they could be the plan A, but it is crazy for the government and for a government that wants to be left-wing government not to have a plan B and to have this conclusion. This conclusion is like left-wing. There is no alternative, Tina. Now, yes, there are meetings, there are organizations from different parts of the left that are trying to coordinate and trying to cooperate and organize what could be called the movement of 5th of July, because 5th of July was the day of the big referendum, a major part of the Greek society. Instead of all this fear and terror of voting no, they voted for the no, and now the no became a yes. So I want to say that, to add to what Thanos said, that there are two arguments that say, first, that we need to support the government, even though the government had to sign this agreement, as they said, the agreement. We have to support it because we have to support the existence of a left-wing government. But what we have with this agreement, it's neither a left-wing policy nor a government. This government cannot govern with this agreement. If someone could read the agreement, he could see that almost all the laws that this government voted in the parliament must be re-examined or maybe cancelled. That all the laws that are going to be
they have to be pre-approved.
They have to be pre-approved by the institutions, as they say. So this is a very difficult thing. Also, they are saying to us that what would be like exiting the eurozone, maybe a big recession time, but how?
Well, they're saying there might be food shortages, rationing, people really suffering. Right?
But how can we think only about the recession and the difficulties from a choice like this when we have guaranteed recession for the next 5, 6 or 10 years with this agreement? This is madness, and it's sad that maybe some people from the left, because of this argument, to support the left government, and are trying to put arguments like this in the public discussion. I think it's not good for the left in Greece and internationally, because also we can see now these days that the conservatives in Europe are trying to use this conclusion of the negotiations in their own countries in order to say to the people that there is no alternative. For example, Rajoy, 2 days after the agreement, he said to a conference that, look,
who is this?
Rajoy, the Prime Minister of Spain.
Okay.
he said that he's a right-wing politician, conservative, and he said to a conference to his people, look at Greece, look at what happened in Greece, look what happened with a left-wing government that tried to negotiate in a more harsh way. They ended up with a worse agreement than the previous government, which was right-wing. Can you see what's happening here?
Can I add something in this discussion about the food shortages and etc. Okay, there has to be a specific research on what Greece is producing and what is consuming and things like that. But from what I have seen and what most of the people that are try somehow to think of an alternative have already mentioned is that first, Greece has the ability to feed its people. I mean, right now, the percentages of food sufficiency are I think that are more than 100%. The electricity, for example, it's more than capable to provide to all the country. In many other important aspects, Greece is not that in such a difficult position to somehow be able to cope with it. We are not saying that there won't be problems, but what is more important is that the reason why Greece is now in a difficult position to even feed its own people, to even provide, basic goods, is because European Union and eurozone agreements have sabotaged Greek production and Greek agriculture. So many people that are saying that, okay, we weren't ready now, we should prepare for the next years, and after that it may be easier for a eurozone exit. That is not going to happen because every day the situation is going worse. If you want to somehow start a different road and create the ability, the capability of the Greek society to live differently, then you cannot do it after you have sell all your infrastructure, after you have destroy all your agriculture and all your productive activities.
So I wanted to ask you, so you've been advancing these ideas for years now, for more than 6 years. That you've been, you've had this party that's representing these ideas. Talk about, has there been a change in popular support for your organizations, and the amount of people that have also want to know more or support this alternative, especially in the last few weeks? You talk about that.
To start with, I think that we have to see that in Greece, a lot of things happened in the last 5 years. All the left organizations gained too much power through the last 5 years because of the memorandum and this awful economic political situation. Antarsya didn't have support in many schools and workplaces and social areas, but it didn't gain as much support as it could because Syriza managed to express all these political project of hope. So most of the people turned to the left but turned to Syriza. Also, a big mistake that was made by Syriza was that Syriza said again and again and again that we should not leave the eurozone at all costs at some point, and
even after the referendum, Tsipras said the referendum wasn't for the Grexit.
Yes, but also I'm trying to to describe what was happening all these last 5 years, with a lot of strikes, with a lot of struggle, and a lot of discussion, public discussion, and conflict, ideological conflict, also inside the left. Syriza tried to say that we should stay in the eurozone and we could find a fair agreement inside the eurozone. I mean, that's not a story about the last 5 months. It's also the story of how Syriza gained this power, how Syriza was elected, how it became government, etc. Now, yes, there are again a lot of people that try to understand that there has to be an alternative. So yes, we've seen this in the last few days, that a lot of people, also voters from Syriza, members of Syriza, they're trying to find an alternative, a different solution. They're not exactly turn to Antarsya, but also to Antarsya, and there I think people need and try to find a new left now. We're talking about now a new left front, a new left organization that would not be afraid to express this opinion and this program, the alternative anti-capitalist program.
Go to therealnews.com for all of our coverage of the Greek debt crisis. From Baltimore, this is Jessel Noor.